Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Caithness Amateur Dramantics Society tasting. Tonight I'm going to be looking at an indie bottling or a company that's recently set up in 2018, an independent bottler. I think one of my fondest memories of my whisky journey was my wife is from Elgin, and her parents lived in South Gildry Street in Elgin, and just round the corner from them was Gordon and MacPhail's uh, delicatessen and whisky shop, and the array of bottles in that shop was fantastic. And of course, they're going to be relocating there. The moment they're doing it all up, they're going to have a kind of drinking tasting room upstairs, and the shop's going to be on the lower floor. I think the delicatessen is sadly gone, but that will provide more space for their bottles. And the array was fantastic, and I really do think that indie bottlers are important. And for me, probably the most important part of my whisky tasting these days. Um, it's always nice to taste something from the distillery themselves, especially when you go and they've got distillery exclusives, cask strengths, that sort of thing. But I think for integrity bottlings, non-chill filter, non-coloured, cask strength, I find that the variety offered by independent bottlers and the price is what's pulling me towards that sort of direction. And the company I'm going to look tonight are Little Brown Dog, based in rural Aberdeenshire. Uh, Chris and Andrew formed a company in 2018. They're based on Chris's farm. They combine a passion for the surrounding area with in-depth knowledge of distilling and cask maturation. They take their name from Andrew was a vet, his beloved dog, whose nickname was the Little Brown Dog. She followed him everywhere on all his distillery visits and was his constant companion. Sadly, she passed away in 2022, aged 15, but lives on in spirit and in the name of the company. However, two more Little Brown Dogs, Winnie and Peedie, joined the team in 2020 and 2023. They aim to make the best tasty things, whether that's selecting the best single malts or the most interesting single cask, or bringing a level of detail and transparency to rectified distilled spirits that is quite uncommon. They do have a gin distillery, smaller than most. They distill and bottle on site using a 10 litre copper pot still called the Wee Dug and a 350 litre Big Dug for the rectification of GNS. They modified the still to operate as they want them and have manufactured their own cooling systems and copper botanical basket to gently extract the aromatics in the fresh botanicals. As independent bottlers of whisky, they make the most of their on-site maturation warehouse, giving them much more control over casks and allowing them to closely monitor the progress of each cask held there and bottle them at their peak. With Spirits Drinks Verification Scheme SDVS accreditation for maturation, blending, bottling, and labelling, they can also provide bottling services. So I've got three drams here tonight. I've got a Glen Garioch 2014 10-year-old at 56.2%. Glen Garioch is, I think, the closest distillery to Little Brown Dog's home, and it seems appropriate that they would bottle a Glen Garioch. Then we have the Drookit Dug 9-year-old blend at 45.2%. It's a blended whiskey. And then we have the Campbeltown Mega Blend, which I'll explain a bit more in a moment or two, which I think is a blended malt whiskey, and it's 56.2%. So the Glen Garioch 2014 10-year-old at 56.2%. Glen Garioch now operates its own floor maltings, and the wash still is direct fired. Whilst this makes no economic sense for a global distilling company such as Beam Suntory to reinstate these theatres, it does make you feel really good that they're doing it. It's also unusually situated right in the centre of the village of Old Meldrum, surrounded by houses and really tucked away so that lots of people will drive past and miss it. This one, this small batch release, is nearly a single cask. It's made up from one first spill bourbon barrel that's just, and then a wee 40-litre dribble of a cask remnant from a private bottling of its sister cask. So that just meant there was more of this, what they describe a tropical fruit of beauty to go around, which is a good thing. There's just 337 bottles. So it should be a thick tropical whiskey. The cask was filled on 17th of November 2014 and bottled on the 17th of February 2025, 10-year-old. And it's cask strength, natural colour, non-chill filtered, of course. And you can see the bubbles there indicating the higher ABV and the non-chill filtration. And it's a lovely pale straw colour. And has a nice tight line and quite viscous tears. And it is tropical. I'm getting pear tart, kiwi, baked apple, tinned pineapple, vanilla essence, and there's a light oakiness. But it's also fizzy peach rings. There's a green grape juice and muscovado sugar. And the Glen Garioch distillate is present, but feels slightly more subdued. I've had from others at this age. I'll do some more Glen Gariochs in the future. There's Duncan Taylor Octave 12-year-old, I think, or maybe 13-year-old, and it's a cracking whiskey. But there is a little more bourbon sweetness here. I'm getting more green apples, a little runny caramel, ginger juice, and custard cream biscuits. And although the alcohol is prominent, it doesn't stop you getting your nose deep into the glass. I'm going to try the mouth on this one. Tinned pineapple, honeydew melon, rhubarb crumble. And there is that burst of tropical fruit. Papaya, mandarin orange, mango puree, vanilla beans, custard, donuts, and a bit of black pepper spice as it goes on. The mouthfeel is nice and viscous, custardy, and you get that melon balls, pear drops, and more of the custard cream biscuits. Dangerously drinkable. The alcohol is very well integrated. It's still present, but only gives a light pepperiness in the background. On the finish, creme anglaise, conference pear, white pepper, dark chocolate, cookie dough, and perhaps a tinge of salted caramel too. I'm going to put 10 drops of water in this. So that's about half a mil. I'm just looking at the volumetry there. Lovely to see that. And now a mix of creamy vanilla custard and pineapple at first, but it does maintain a very similar profile to the unreduced nose. It does feel a little lighter and fruitier than before. Some of the caramel aromas have faded into the background. On the nose, I don't think it particularly benefits from reduction. We'll try the mouth. And it feels slightly richer. The tropical fruits have been pushed into the background in favour of more vanilla, custard, double cream, and some oat flapjack bars. And funnily, adding 10 drops of water, the alcohol actually feels more prominent now, like it's been woken up by the water. But like the nose, I'd skip adding water. I think it was better undiluted. And the finish lingers for a while. It's mostly showing as chocolate, a little marzipan, and wafer cones. There's no doubt in my mind that this is a dessert dram. It's a bit like a well-made trifle. Lots of fruit, custard, and some biscuits. And some biscuity flavours to top it all off. It's a good alcohol integration, a good mouthfeel. It's still recognisable as Glen Garioch, albeit perhaps more cask forward than some of the 10-year-olds I've had from Glen Garioch. But all the same, it's very, very tasty. I'm going to cleanse my palate with a new and strongly milled oatcake tonight. So next up we have a blended whisky, a mixture of malt and grain, matured in first and second fill bourbon and sherry casks. And they did put in some 40-year-old grain into this. So although it's 9 years old, minimum age of a whisky in here, there is a 40-year-old grain in here. Let's see what we have. And it's Drookit, because the ABV is lower due to natural cask lowering of the whisky, not because they watered it down. And it's got lovely tears, thin tinted line, but lovely tears. Nice gold colour for a 9-year-old. And yeah, it's sticky flapjack. And it's rich with butter and honey, ripe apples and light toffee. And there's quite a vibrant sherry on the nose. Youthful rather than fusty. It's brimming with honey and toast. And that inviting waxy texture. I'll try the mouth. And as always in the best blends, it's the malts that are doing the talking, and the silent spirits, the grains, just keep quiet. And it's a whole basket of orchard fruits, apples, complemented with almonds, marzipan. Orange blossom and a fatty, greasy touch. And the finish is a medium to long finish, malted barley and honey, touch of spice, plenty of sultana or currant notes linger. I'm going to try 6 drops of water in this. Sure, it's not a big whiskey, but it's quite characterful. And there is some nuts, roasted nuts, and some malt there. And that orchard fruits again. Almonds, orange blossom. We'll try the mouth. It still has a medium to full mouthful and an inviting waxy texture, a soft sweetness from honey, milk chocolate. Apples and red currants, and there's a savoury backnote, a resinous note to it. It tastes a little bit like Garibaldi biscuits. It's a plain biscuit with a currant centre. It's quite fresh, with no roughness to it. with water, the finish is maybe a little short. And that's a bit of a shame because you can feel the composition works very well. This is very tasty and extremely drinkable. It's a sort of ideal midweek treat. And the maturation creates a more integrated balance between sweetness and complexity without losing the characteristic signature style. I'd say Drookit Dug 9-year-old is ideal for quiet enjoyment on its own, or even with a few drops of water to open up the aromas a little further. So I'll cleanse my palate again. And this one I'm looking forward to. It's the Campbeltown Mega Blend at 56.2%. And for this one, they've used whiskies from all of the Campbeltown distilleries currently in production. There's a few Campbeltown blends, Campbeltown Loch from Jeremy Mitchell. For one, I think Cadenhead do another one. For this one, they've used 9-year-old Glen Scotia, 12 and 16-year-old Kilkerran for the heavier peatiness, and 10 and 21-year-old Springbank, and matured it in first fill bourbon and refill sherry casks. So 21-year-old Springbank, 16-year-old Kilkerran. So why would they do that? And there's two reasons. I think the deal to get the stock of these, they would only give them it if it was used for blending. And the Little Brown Dog themselves wanted to produce a whiskey that people could drink. If they'd bottled a 21-year-old Springbank cask, it would have cost in the hundreds. And it's fully sherry matured in PX and Oloroso casks from Edrington stock and bottled at a proper drinking strength. So 9-year-old would be the age if they were putting it on it. It does contain 21-year-old Springbank. Doesn't say how much. It's nice tears on it. And yeah, you get the butter popcorn right off the bat. With a trio of multi-pack jam tarts, strawberry, raspberry and lemon. And it's like going into a countryside bus depot with a mix of oily rags, farmyard aromas and red diesel. But there's lots of fresh fruit rising up with honeydew melon and tin peaches too. It really has it all, this nose. Well, try them out. The texture is chewy, rich, yet somehow still silky with a high-end marmalade. While the high ABV is present, it doesn't overpower the dram. It's a firm handshake instead of a slap in the chops. Tin peaches that have been left to sit in the musty bunker of a back room with that Scotia grounded pepper kicking in. And the peat from the Kilkerran rears its head after a few sips, but smoothly integrates with the rest of the flavours. An almost cheesy note starts to build with a waxy tint, a bit like the first time you try a Baby Bell. I remember my brother convinced me that the red wax outer red layer was edible. Sadly, it's not. And the finish hangs on for an age, and it just makes you want to pour another one. Marmite and butter on brown toast, through to sweet tangy oranges. It's just everything I'd be looking for in a Campbeltown mega blend. I've made one up myself from some of my Campbeltown whiskies, my house blend. And yeah, I'm going to try 10 drops of water in this. And now I'm getting dusty chalk, lemon meringue, lemon curd, and a Basque cheesecake, elderflower, papaya, honeydews. It's quite smooth, yet rich in diverse aromas. Think citrus, orange, toffee, and milk chocolate. There's also a gentle peppery note, a fair amount of peach, and a hint of almond. It's complex, yet inviting. I'll try them out. Creamy, passion fruit compote and panna cotta, a warm sponge cake, tin peach syrup, maybe a touch of dry moss. There's a definite dirtiness, the Campbeltown funk, winding a slight industrial note, drying fishing ropes in the sun sort of feeling. It's quite full and complex with flavours of nutmeg, pure vanilla and citrus, notes of marzipan, oak, ginger and table salt. Sounds like a mixed bag, but the flavours blend quite easily and work well together. The finish is medium to low, with a warming effect. Here too, the more acidic flavours are more prominent, including lime and lemon zest. But there's also notes of oak and soft honey. Could a whisky with such stock in the bottle ever be greater than the sum of its parts? Yes. For me, and I'm a lover of Springbank, and I love their ethos, and a visit to Springbank Distillery is one that you must do if you're ever in that area. And this shocking blend highlights how stunning blended malts can be. I think you need to toss aside your notions that the B word, the blend word, means inferior. Get the compass box, get the turntable, the Campbeltown lock, and if you ever get a chance to grab this, I would really recommend you give it a try. Just leave some on the shelf for me. So, Little Brown Dog, what they are doing right now is wonderful, and I suggest you check out their videos, which are full of wit, fascinating stories, and a wonderful passion for indie bottled whiskey. Thank you for listening.